Ah! Oh! 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 Oh my! Look at the time! It's time for American Ninja Warrior Season 13! That means I get to discuss about it! Yes! Yes! Finally! It's back! I know what I must do. Onward! So American Ninja Warrior Season 13 really snuck up on me this time. Feels like, I'm just not prepared for it. I don't have the properly set up behind me. I haven't even watched the women's championship yet from last season. And, let's be honest, this review is a little late. But just to give full background of where I'm coming from this, I haven't watched the second episode yet. I haven't listened to anyone's opinions on the first two episodes. Hey, Rich and Bijan. And I'm just going to tell you what I thought about the first episode. And honestly, I had to wait a bit with everything going on in my life. Had to hold off watching, and it was not worth the wait. This episode sucked. This was not a good season premiere for the show. I'm sorry to say that this is not a good start for the show, and it's also not a good start for the show in the ratings. I got the ratings up right here, 0.46. Yikes, that is pretty low for ANW. That's actually one of the lowest ratings it's done, and I something needs to change with this show because it's interesting. They're trying to do new things, but yet they're still stuck in their old ways. It seems like there's two main changes. There's a few changes this season. I guess we'll talk about it really quickly. One of the major changes is that they lowered the age limit to 15. So congratulations, ANW. You finally caught up to Sasuke. It only took you 13 years to do it, but good job. You finally allow teenagers on your show, much like the show that you're based on. And, honestly, I think it's great. There's a lot of talented kids out there. I see them all the time, National Ninja League. I haven't watched episode 2 yet, but, I know Josiah Pipel is in that episode. I am super excited to see how he does. Been a huge fan of his work, and he's not, he would have been old enough this year anyway, but Joe Meisner, I'm really looking forward to him too. And there's a lot of younger kids who I recognize from the NNL who either have competed or will be competing, and I think it's a great opportunity. The way they're doing it, however, it's a bit weird. They're making a really, really big deal on the teens, and I almost get the impression that they're doing it to try to attract a younger audience, because that's been one of the issues that AEW has been having lately, is that the ages tend to skew older of the viewership, and not in a good way, as in outside of the key demo way. But it's going to be interesting to see how it pays off. I do believe we'll see a teenager in Stage 3 this year, unless Stage 2 is some good old BS like it has been in years past. But I like to see more of it. But let's just go through. We're going to go through this course a little bit. We're going to go through some of the runs. You know me, and I don't like talking about every run in detail in the qualifiers. I'm sure some of you would like me, but it's not worth it to me. So we start with the shrinking steps, as it has been the past few years. Overpass is number 2. A bit of a weird obstacle. It's similar to that obstacle last year. What is it? Put a ring on it or something like that. The one we got to catch the ring. I don't care what the name is. You have to do some monkey bars, and as soon as you get the first bar, this lache bar starts going down a track. And so you either have to catch it as it's going or wait for it to stop and do a 9-foot lache. And then, because they need a way for you to dismount the obstacle, they put you onto a mini slider where you transfer to the slider bar, you hop down, you slide and jump. A bit weird of an ending, but like the obstacle itself, it's fine. And then is split decision. Specifically, for the qualifier round, the third obstacle will have two different obstacles that you have to choose from. Now, I will say that conceptually, this is a good idea. I like the idea of having to choose between one of two obstacles. When I heard that they were doing the split path, split decision thing, my immediate thought was, someone's been watching Viking. If you know, you know. Now, some people might say, oh, they've been watching Sasuke Vietnam, but it's not quite the same thing with Sasuke Vietnam. That show did it a little bit differently. But Viking, for those unaware, their second stage, one of the obstacles was a split path obstacle, in which you got to choose between one of two obstacles. However, Viking did it better. It was Viking, your two choices was a trampoline jump, so a trampoline onto a balance beam, so you had to do a precision jump, which was much faster but risky, or a flagpole raise, where you had to pull a sandbag up a flagpole, and you'll only be allowed to move then. Safer, but could take longer if you're not strong enough. And that was the whole idea. It was two very different obstacles to choose from. The problem with this episode, and what I suspect is going to happen the rest of this season for the qualifiers, due to how it was explained on ANWNation.com, it appears that the two obstacles you have to choose from is balance obstacle where you have to go fast, or balance obstacle where you have to go fast. Essentially two agility balance hybrid obstacles, which is typical for the balance obstacle slot in ANW. And I don't think it makes, it's so obvious that they wanted to make a big deal about, competitors choosing which one will they choose. Some of them were playing it up for the camera, and which I'm sure was a request by the producers. But I'm just looking at it, and it's like, on one hand you had the spinning log, and the other hand you had domino effect. And I'm just looking and thinking to myself, are those two really that different? I don't know the answer to that. Because, there are some differences, but they're not that different. So, there was like one dude who failed the spinning log, was like, oh, I should have picked the dominoes. It's like, really? Would it really make a difference? I don't know. It's hard to tell, and I'm not convinced. But then it was tipping point. This obstacle is trash. I don't like it. It looks bad. Visually, it looks bad. Actually, really, that's just it. Visually, it looks bad. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the mechanics of it. I am tired of ratchet systems. It's too basic. You're just turning a lever that you're on kind of awkwardly, and then you have this really awkward looking slide thing lever. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And then you have V formation, which is another obstacle that I don't like. It's a hodgepodge obstacle, which I'm not a fan of in general. It's very clear. This does not come across as two... It doesn't come across as one coherent obstacle. This comes across as two separate obstacles that they stuck together because they couldn't make them work as one obstacle. Basically, they took one of the handles from Ultimate Beastmaster. That I am convinced that is one of the rings from the third stage of Ultimate Beastmaster, and they have to bring it up this slope. Now, what I do think is cool is that it has these gate locks, so you get through and then you can't go slide back down. Although that last run may have tipped something, may have skewed my opinion a little bit. And then you go to a completely different obstacle where you have to hold on to these V beams that swing, and they want you to go diagonally from them. And they have this rule that you have to land on the fourth one and dismount from it. And I hate these arbitrary rules that they have where it's like, oh, you have to dismount from this point, or you have to do this obstacle this way. The dismount one is really dumb because it's like, don't design the obstacle that way. They're already going side to side. it's very awkward. I don't think I don't like it. I just don't like it. Then it's the pair of mega walls. It's they're still using the original mega wall rules where you get one shot and then you move on to the normal warp wall instead. So they start things off with Matisse Owadi, which immediately I'm like, oh. And it turns out, yeah, he failed the spinning log and he's out. And it's like, I am shocked because they just threw him out there. And that's the quickest ANW has ever been done with Matisse. And granted, it was, a lot of it was her fault, but like, wow. I am completely shocked by that. And then they had Sophie Shaft, who I believe was one of the teenagers. She's known as the Beast, in which immediately I'm like, okay, no, that's James McGrath, formerly Alan Keneally, although not that second one not official. But like, talk about how she can do a piano and deadlift 300 pounds. That's pretty cool. She ended up failing tipping point. Good, solid run. I believe she's moving on, so good to see her in the next round. Oh my God, the Ernest Perez. So there were several profiles. I'm not going through all the profiles. This is really where my distaste for this episode is in a lot of the profiles. Too many of them were way too long and way too sappy and melodramatic, and I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. And this episode felt especially bad. And I don't know if this really was out of the ordinary, but there was a segment with one of the commercial breaks where they came back from commercial break where Matt Eisman said, you missed a lot of fun during the commercial break. Did I write that? I did not write it? No. How did I not write that? Oh, here we go. Some fun things happened while you were gone. And when I heard that, my first thought was, really? It would have been nice to see it, considering nothing fun has happened on the show yet. That's kind of like the weird thing, is that like they're trying really hard to be like extra funny in times with like having Matt Eisman dressed up as an astronaut and having the commentators wish on a genie lamp. They're trying in all the wrong ways to make the show more fun and goofy, when like really the thing that you should make fun is the course. You should make watching the course fun, but they're not. This was, I think part of the problem was this was a boring course. It was quite frankly not a good course. As you've heard from my overall opinions on some of these obstacles, 4 and 5 especially, not being my favorite, just really annoyed me in that regard. And all the I'm trying to think, was there any profile that I liked? I mean, I liked Sophie Shaft. That was fine. Isabella Wakeham, okay, yeah, that was okay. I guess Lindsay Eccleston. Okay, so that's 3. Yeah, so I think that's only 3 profiles I actually enjoyed. Most of them were just like, God, didn't need it. Just complete waste of time. And they're too long too. A lot of them were way too long. You could have fit you had some people who failed the first obstacle. You could have squeezed them in, had a little bit of fun with it. I think that's the annoying part, is that a lot of times when they do the fast forward of runs, it really feels like that those are the runs that I would like to see more than most of the stuff they show. ANW is not an inspirational show. I think they really need to understand that, yes, you can have inspirational moments. There have been some inspirational moments on the show, but they're trying to force feed this inspiration and these incredible stories, and it's like it feels like you're putting in more effort in the backstage, and the fluff pieces than the actual course. Because again, this course was not particularly great. You had some okay obstacles, some standard obstacles being the first and last, and two really bad obstacles in my opinion, and a split decision that isn't really much of a decision. So it just feels me. So I just feel like I'm trying to pick the good parts here. It was great seeing Sam Sandback. Actually, I don't know if he made it through. I guess I'll find out when I look at the list. Oh no, he did make it through. Yeah, because he failed the V formation. Yes, it was good seeing him. First time in 3 years. He's 53. Man, I've always been a big fan of Sam Sand. It sucks that he fell in V formation. If they didn't have that rule, they had to dismount on the fourth handle, then maybe he would have cleared the whole thing. Adam Nades, the aerospace engineer, that was cool. He was able to power up the V formation the first half and then fail the second half, but it was cool. Elijah Browning is one of those teenagers. Once again, he's known as the boss. Elijah, I have no interaction with Elijah in my entire life, but he's one of those people that I've seen in competitions many times. I just know nothing about him personally. And they spoiled his run in the intro. Because they actually showed him on top of the warp wall with the smoke coming up in the intro of the show, and it's like you couldn't show any other shot of him. Really, you had to spoil it. Unbelievable. Man, I don't even know why I even bother writing half these. There was an Olympic promo. A promo for the Olympics, and immediately I thought about USA versus the World, where this was in January 2020, where Eisman's like, oh yes, you can watch the 2020 Olympics this August on NBC, and all I can think is that, man, today, now all I can think is like, man, I really hope history doesn't repeat itself, and Matt Eisman is proven a liar twice in a row through no fault of his own. But Jonathan Horton was also on this episode, and they referred to him as the best ninja to never reach Vegas. And I can understand why people would say that, largely just because he's an Olympian. And I guess, in a way, you could say that, like, he should be doing better than he is. Even now, like, he failed tipping point, and it's like, come on, you shouldn't have failed there. Even he knows he shouldn't have failed there, because he kind of just screwed up the dismount. But he managed to move on, which is nice. Berkeley Stockett, it was good to see her back. Her mother sadly passed away. Just to reiterate what I said before, it didn't need to be that long, but I think part of the reason it was so long was oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes and I just realized there is a segment where it's just Barclay's run and the fast forwards ahead of time. Barclay failed the second obstacle. So in that one segment in between two obstacles, there must have been like less than a minute of actual ninja course running. Maybe a little bit more. I think maybe Barclay was a little bit faster than that, but just like, wow. Maybe that's another reason why I was so annoyed, because there wasn't like an actual enough ninja. But yeah, she the sliding, the final bit of overpass, she just sort of fell off the rails, and it was terrible. It was sad to see her fall there. Jonathan Goodbout, another teenager, cleared the course. Congratulations to him. Vinny Castronova got fast forward and cleared. Would have liked to see him on. Dairy farm. Oh my god, yeah. Caleb Dowen, the dairy farmer. Yeah, it was a fine run. Lindsay Eggleston, like I said before, I really liked her run. I liked rare profile piece, just talking about getting back to Ninja immediately after giving birth. It's only been 3 months since her second kid. Now she's back. She did pretty well. Made it to the V formation. I think, yeah, she's a lady to look out for. I always liked Lindsay as a competitor. It's good stuff. One of the shocking falls was Thomas Stillings. He slipped on the spinning log and his foot landed in the water and got DQ'd. And he's out. And I'm heartbroken about that. Man, that sucks. Thomas is a good guy. I wish he made it further. And then they featured Isaiah Thomas. The second to last run that they showed is when they finally showed the clock. I don't understand why they continue to not show the clock. This is a show that tries to present itself as a sport, and you continuously deny us elements that would make it more of a sport. Why is there no clock on the screen the whole time? I know why there's no clock on the screen. It's so they don't have to bother editing it. Because sometimes they like to play fast and loose with the time. But still, it would be nice. Unbelievable. But Isaiah looked impressive. 15 years old. 3 of the 5 clears of this episode were teenagers. And I think it just really shows just how the strength of competitors who are competing on the show. I'm disappointed that they fast forward Jody Avila. He got a lot of focus last year, and now he didn't. At least early on. And then the final run was Daniel Gill, and they spoiled this so hard. First off, a couple of commercial breaks before this happened, they showed later on this episode, you'll see something that makes Akbar go, "What the what?" And it's like, okay, well, someone fails in a shocking fashion. You get to last run, you haven't seen Akbar say what the what yet, so duh, you put 2 and 2 together, Daniel Gill is going to fall on the course. And they, even beforehand, they made such a big deal about it. They said, Daniel Gill hasn't gotten wet in 3 years, which is true. It's, in season 11, he made it to the final stage and never got wet in Qualifier. So he never got wet there. And then he won last year in their unique format. Never got wet there. Yeah, so it's been 3 years. And, well, like I said, they couldn't make it any more obvious. Now, to be fair, I did think that he wasn't even going to qualify, but he did. He failed V formation. He failed the part going up. And what happened was, he went up, hit the first lock, and according to him, he heard it lock into place. But what he didn't realize was that the handle wasn't all the way up. It was like kind of lodged in a weird way. I would almost, you could almost argue it's an optical malfunction, even though I don't think it is. But like, because he thought it was locked, he went to change his grip, and then the handle fell on him, and he fell in the water. So it sucks, But the good news is he's still moving on, which is the important thing to remember. He's still moving on. But this must have given the producers a heart attack, because they want Daniel Gill to do well. Imagine if he got eliminated. Oh boy. But real kind of downer of an episode to end on. I guess they wanted to do it. I don't blame them. You got to end on Daniel Gill. He's the champ. The sort of champ, not the original definition of a champ. You got to end with him. So ending on a shocking note is I appreciate it. I can appreciate that the last run isn't always a clear. I do wish that the first run wasn't so obviously, they're going to fail sort of thing. But it is what it is. Look, there were some good competitors, but unfortunately, it was a bad course and a poorly edited show, in my opinion, in terms of just the profile pieces and the way everything was done. You know, they brought back Akbar's Bajabil moments, and all three of those moments I can say are stuff that should have been part of the main show. They shouldn't be tossed away, items. They've been trying so hard to make the show more fun in everything other than the main show. Everything around the course, they're trying to make more fun with presentation, having the host act goofy and all that. But what they really need to do is get someone who can make better obstacles that are more fun, make the presentation itself more fun, make the fluff pieces more fun, and you can't even claim that this is a case of me, old man yelling at cloud, because no one's watching the show anymore. At least not as many as it used to. This show did 3.3 million viewers and got a 0.46 rating. Let me look at last year's demo. Only one episode last season did worse than a 0.46 demo. And that was episode 4, which did a 0.35 for some reason. But everything else got at least a 0.5. It's been... ANW used to get well over ones in the rating, even higher maybe. The show's been on a decline, and they need a changing of something. They need a change of direction. They need something, man. Because if this is an indication for what the entire season is going to be, it's going to be a long season. It's not going to be fun reviewing these shows if it turns out that this is what the entire season is going to be. Let's just go through the results now. So in the end, how many people actually competed on this episode? I don't know. Bunch of people ran the course. We had a total of 11 people fail the shrinking steps, 20 fail overpass, 8 failed the spinning log, 7 failed domino effect, 7 failed turning point, 21 failing V formation, and 5 were able to complete the entire course. No one up the mega wall, however. Here are your, I believe, 32 people moving on to the semifinals. I forgot to mention this earlier. There's 5 qualifiers, 4 semifinals, and then Vegas. So I presume that it's 4 times 15 is 60. And then you take into account if all the women's slots are used, then that's another 8 right there. So at most 68 in Vegas, which, unless they do wild cards, but that's low. That is a low number. I hope they do wild cards or something like that. But from 1st to 30th, here are your rankings. Completing the course is Isaiah Thomas, Elijah Browning, Jody Avila, Vinny Castronova, and Jonathan Goodout. Completing failing V formation, I should say, was Nate Pardo, Daniel Gill, Christian Yost, Brian Burkhart, Alex Blick, Caleb Downen, Ryan Meeks, Isaiah Wakeham, Cole Verbal, Isabella Wakeham, Josh Norton, Caleb Benson, Wade Loop, Cayman Selby, Dan Wentworth, Brian Billinger, I probably butchered that, I apologize, Adam Nadis, Jeremy Clark, Abel Gonzalez, Lindsay Exelson, Sam San, and San. And failing tipping point was Sophie Shaft, Jonathan Horton, Jade Bufford, and Corey Tolkinson. And rounding out your top 5 women are China Hart and Christine Brophy, who both failed domino effect. One other run that I think got completely skipped was Casey Suhaki. I was looking at the full list. That's the one name that stuck out. He failed overpass. It's unfortunate, but hopefully we'll see him again next year. This was not a good episode. I want to make it perfectly clear that I didn't come into this expecting to hate it. I had to put it off because of all my commitments and my schedule. But once I sat down to watch it, I was ready to watch a new season of American Ninja Warrior and hopefully like it. This, I feel like, was a massive step back. This was, in my opinion, worse than every episode of last season. I don't know if it's worse than every episode of season 11 because it's been a while since I've seen that season. But I can say with confidence that this is worse than every episode of season 12. And I really hope this is not a sign of things to come, because if this is a sign of things to come, then, oh boy, these are going to be quite the reviews. But I guess for those of you who like to see me rant, you'll be in a treat. Hey, thank you all very much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And hey, check out some of my past reviews of other ninja-related things. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time.